Aryavata, a land of ancient legends and timeless beauty, where the divine and the mortal realms intertwine seamlessly. A land blessed by the gods, where every sunrise brings hope and every sunset whispers tales of old. A land of sparkling rivers and green fields, where nature's bounty is celebrated and revered by all who dwell there. A shining example of knowledge, fairness, and wealth. Aryavata's grand libraries held the wisdom of ages, and its marketplaces glittered with the treasures of the world. The noble Pandavas, descendants of the great King Bharata, ruled this land with justice and honor. Their reign was marked by prosperity and peace. Yudhishthira, the oldest, was the perfect example of goodness. His wisdom and integrity were unmatched, making him the ideal ruler. Everyone agreed he should be king. His coronation was a grand celebration, a testament to the love and respect he commanded. His wisdom and kindness were famous everywhere. People from far and wide sought his counsel, knowing they would find a just and compassionate leader. Yudhishthira and his brothers represented everything good. They were the epitome of virtue, bravery, and loyalty. Bhima, the mighty warrior, was as strong as 1,000 elephants. His strength was legendary, and his courage knew no bounds. Arjun, the best archer ever, could hit a bird's eye from far away. His skill with the bow was unparalleled, earning him fame across the lands. The twins, Nakul and Sahadeva, were experts in healing and planning. Their knowledge and strategic acumen were invaluable to the kingdom. Together, they protected Aryavata and its traditions. Their unity and dedication ensured the safety and prosperity of their homeland. But even in this perfect place, there were hidden dangers. Dark clouds of envy and ambition began to gather on the horizon. Jealousy and greed grew in the heart of Duryodhana, the oldest of the Kauravas, the Pandavas' cousins. His heart was consumed by a burning desire for power. He wanted the throne, blinded by his desire for power. His envy and ambition knew no bounds, and he would stop at nothing to achieve his goal. He was filled with anger, wanting what was rightfully Yudhishthira's. His rage and jealousy threatened to unravel the very fabric of Aryavata. Duryodhana, influenced by the poisonous words of his uncle Shakuni, plotted against his own family. Shakuni's cunning mind was always at work, devising schemes to bring down the Pandavas. He knew that Duryodhana's jealousy and ambition could be used as powerful tools to sow discord and chaos. He challenged Yudhishthira to a dice game, a game that was unfair from the start. The dice were loaded, and the outcome was preordained. Yudhishthira, known for his unwavering adherence to dharma, accepted the challenge, unaware of the treachery that lay ahead. Yudhishthira, true to his word, played and lost everything: his kingdom, his wealth, even his brothers and wife Draupadi. Each roll of the dice brought more despair, and the Pandavas watched helplessly as their world crumbled around them. They were all dragged into shame. The court was filled with jeers and laughter as the Pandavas were humiliated. The final blow came when Duryodhana ordered Draupadi to be disrobed in front of everyone. Trying to disrobe Draupadi in court caused a huge uproar. Her cries for justice echoed through the halls, and the gods themselves seemed to tremble at the injustice. Her angry cries for justice shook the whole kingdom. The people of Hastinapura were outraged, and the seeds of a great conflict were sown that day. It was a terrible insult, a stain on the Pandavas' honor that could only be washed away with blood. The Pandavas vowed to reclaim their honor and avenge the wrongs done to them. Forced to leave their home, the Pandavas faced their darkest time. They wandered in the wilderness, their hearts heavy with sorrow, and their minds filled with thoughts of revenge. But they didn't give up hope. Despite the hardships, they remained united and determined. Their bond grew stronger, and their resolve to fight for justice became unbreakable. Their spirit, made stronger by hardship, shone even brighter. They trained, they planned, and they prepared for the day they would reclaim their rightful place. In their suffering, they found their true power. The Pandavas emerged from their trials not just as warriors, but as symbols of resilience and hope, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Living in the forest made the Pandavas into incredible warriors, skilled and determined. They traveled, looking for allies and improving their skills. People who wanted justice heard their story and joined them. Kings and common people alike supported their cause. And then there was Krishna, the inspiring king of Dwarka, a brilliant strategist and a source of wisdom. Krishna became their guide, his advice giving them strength in their darkest times. He saw Arjun's potential, the conflict inside him, and prepared him for the battle to come. The war for Aryavata wasn't just about land or power. It was a war for the heart of the nation, a war between good and evil, between right and wrong. It was a battle for what it means to be human. The air was thick with tension as the two armies gathered on the plains of Kurukshetra, now called Dharmakshetra, the field of righteousness. The atmosphere was electric, charged with the anticipation of the impending clash. Warriors from both sides stood ready, their faces a mix of determination and fear, knowing that this battle would change the course of history. The ground shook under the weight of chariots and the loud war drums. The rhythmic pounding of the drums echoed across the plains, a constant reminder of the approaching conflict. Dust rose in clouds as the chariots moved, creating a haze that blurred the lines between the two armies. The sun reflected off countless spears, a scary sign of the coming bloodshed. Each spear, polished to a deadly shine, seemed to promise violence and death. The glint of the weapons was almost blinding, a stark contrast to the dark thoughts in the minds of the warriors. Arjun looked over the battlefield, and his heart sank. The vast expanse of the battlefield seemed endless, filled with soldiers who were once his friends and family. The weight of the situation pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe. He saw his family, his teachers, and his childhood friends ready to fight against him. The sight was almost unbearable. Memories of shared laughter and lessons learned together flooded his mind, making the reality of the situation even more painful. The thought of their deaths was too much to bear. Arjun's mind raced with the implications of the battle. Could he really bring himself to kill those he loved, even if it was for a just cause? The internal conflict tore at his soul. Could he fight against those he loved, even for what was right? The question echoed in his mind, growing louder with each passing moment. The principles he had always held dear now seemed to be in direct conflict with his emotions. Seeing his friend's sadness, Krishna, Arjun's charioteer, spoke. His voice was calm and steady, a stark contrast to the chaos around them. Krishna's words were filled with wisdom and compassion, aimed at easing Arjun's troubled heart. His words, now forever in the Bhagavad Gita, cut through Arjun's doubts. Krishna spoke of duty, righteousness, and the eternal nature of the soul. His teachings provided a new perspective, one that transcended the immediate horrors of the battlefield. He reminded Arjun of his duty, of the need to do what's right, no matter the cost. With renewed resolve, Arjun prepared himself for the battle ahead, ready to face whatever came his way, knowing that he was fighting for a greater cause. The conch shells blew, breaking the tense silence. The battle began, a storm of steel and rage. Arrows filled the sky, each one carrying death. Chariots crashed, their drivers locked in deadly combat. The earth itself seemed to groan. Bhima, filled with righteous anger, stormed through the Kaurava army, his mace crushing bone and steel. Yudhishthira, sadness on his face, fought with the quiet strength of a man who knew his duty. On the other side was Karna, an incredibly skilled warrior, loyal to Duryodhana. A tragic hero, his loyalty was misplaced, his talents used for the wrong side. He longed to be accepted, to belong somewhere he never truly could. Days turned into nights. The battlefield became a graveyard, but the war went on, driven by revenge, duty, and despair. Sometimes one side won, sometimes the other, but every loss left a deeper wound. Through all the fighting, Arjun, following Krishna's words, fought with the precision of a surgeon and the calmness of a wise man. He became an instrument of fate, his arrows always hitting their targets. The biggest moment came when Karna and Arjun faced each other. It was a legendary fight, a clash of titans. In the end, it was Arjun's arrow, guided by Krishna, that hit its mark, ending Karna's sad story. When Karna fell, the Kauravas lost hope. But Duryodhana, filled with hate, refused to give up. He challenged Bhima to a final, brutal fight, their maces ringing like funeral bells. The fight showed their strength, their endurance, and their stubborn wills. Bhima, fueled by his grief and rage, fought like a trapped animal. Finally, he defeated Duryodhana, but his victory felt empty, filled with the bitterness of betrayed family. The sun set on Dharmakshetra, casting long shadows over the battlefield. The silence after the noise of war was deafening, broken only by the moans of the dying and the cries of the victors. The Pandavas won, but their hearts were heavy. The battlefield showed the terrible cost of war, a reminder of how fragile life is and how powerful hate can be. Krishna, his work done, prepared to leave. He gathered the Pandavas, his eyes filled with unspoken wisdom. He reminded them that their victory was just the beginning. They had a kingdom to rebuild, a people to heal. They had to rule with kindness and fairness. The real war, he said, wasn't fought on the battlefield, but inside their own hearts. And so, the Pandavas became the rulers of Aryavarta, their reign known for peace and wisdom. They ruled fairly and kindly, remembering the lessons of Kurukshetra. The story of that great war has been told for generations. The story of the Pandavas and Kauravas became a warning, a reminder of the danger of greed and the importance of doing what's right, even when it's hard. The war of virtues wasn't just a fight for land or power. It was a fight for the soul of humanity, a fight that still goes on inside each of us today. It's a fight that asks us to choose between right and wrong, between greed and kindness, between darkness and light. The choice, as always, is ours.